All right, we welcome you back to Vicksburg High School. Glad you can join us. Gator football coming up in a matter of moments following a bye week, refreshed, energized, and ready to go. Ready to go with district play, which starts tonight against Neshoba Central, the Rockets of Neshoba. This is kind of a down week the last 2 or 3 days with the fall break. So classes have been out the last couple of days. Man, I wish we had a fall break when I was in high school. I mean, we didn't have that. It was straight through, but some schools get a few more days than others, but the Gators athletes and students were off the back half of this week as we get ready for Neshoba. Glad you can join us here on this Friday night. Charles Edmond here with head coach Chris Lacy. Coach, the bye week refreshed and ready to go. You know, I didn't know what to do with myself because on Friday nights you're just so used to being in that grinder. Didn't know what to do with myself this past Friday. What were you able to do this past weekend being off?
I was able to watch more film from, previous games and just kind of relax, kind of take some time and do some stuff that I like to do, sit on the porch, go outside, drink lemonade, things of that nature. So I was able to do that. It was fun, but now it's time to get back to work.
How much film did you watch? I know you were in watching somebody's tape, somebody's film. You were doing something football related.
I watched our film. I watched the opponent, Neshoba's film. I watched film from people who weren't on our schedule, just watching, football and trying to nitpick and find ways to, whether it's stealing a play or a defense or, just the way people coaching something, just trying to take something from there and watched a lot of college football. So I wouldn't call it just necessarily a off break for me or whatever, but my job is to get everybody together, so I got to keep on studying.
Well, this is a good time to have a bye week because district play starts. Is this kind of typical for a lot of teams where you get a bye before you get into district play, or does it vary from district to district, from school to school?
You could put a game in that, column if you want to, but most schools are going to probably take a break just to, see if can they get back all the way 100% healthy and not get guys banged up before district and and just fix some of the stuff that they need to fix. So it's kind of a refresher for everybody. And like the schedule was kind of light in the state, this Friday, but still some guys played football and more than none were off.
And some played last night. Warren Central played on a Thursday night. So still dealing with the referee situation, obviously. So that's something I guess we'll be talking about as we go down the road. Well, Coach, we'll quickly put that Yazoo game behind us because it's been talked about the last couple of weeks. 8-7, man. We lose high-scoring games, 14-6 and 8-7. One-score games, and the game was played in what I thought was a mini hurricane. Wind was blowing 30 miles an hour. It was cold. I mean, it was just as raw as it gets. But yet, 30 miles from where we were in Yazoo City, right here in Vicksburg, didn't get a drop. It was homecoming, not a drop of rain. How weird was that?
That's just, the great guy we serve, doing his thing. You can't really predict the weather and stuff, so you just got to take what God put out there for you.
The conditions and the score and the game and how it unfolded, we were one possession away from winning the game, and Yazoo scored late. It was tough sledding offensively. It was just raw conditions. Just couldn't hold on there in the last minute.
Man, we got to get in the end zone. We got to score some touchdowns. I think that's more so the big thing. Regardless of what the weather had going on, we played a game of football outside. We didn't practice in the rain. This year we've trained ourselves for the elements. It's just when we get out there, we can't let that stuff get to you. I saw where some of the kids, that part of them, especially my new guys, that was different for them actually playing the game in those conditions. So they grew up. After the game, I thank God for that game, whether it was a win or loss, because it allowed kids who have never played a varsity football game in that type of environment to go through it. So I think they learned something from it.
What do you think they learned?
That every game ain't gonna be peachy keen. You're gonna have to come in because it it was agitating for the wind, the rain to just be flying in your face. Like, it was a different environment. It really was. And I just, like I said, I thank God for it, because now those kids know how to, I guess, play or respond or different things that goes on. Like, we fumbled the ball a couple times, like just stuff like that, where you gotta prepare better for those situations. So hopefully they don't take them for granted, and use that to help them out, whether it comes back to us or not later on in the season.
I'm talking with other coaches, and I'm saying penalties, penalties, penalties. And then I think about the Yazoo game. 3 penalties extended that drive, which allowed them to score the touchdown, then the 2-point conversion. Penalties, penalties, penalties.
And I mean, penalties this season, it just been all over the place with penalties and just different things that are not like common in the game of football at the rate that it's going. So I see it all over the place, but still, that's what we practice for. We got to prepare for them moments. You just got to be prepared for those moments and not let it shoot you in the foot later on down the road.
What was the challenge, and what has been the challenge offensively? You just talked about we got to get the ball in the end zone. I know settling for field goals, especially in conditions like that, is just going to be tough to overcome. But what's the biggest sticking point with this offense, getting unstuck and scoring more points?
Blocking, trusting the plays, doing what you're supposed to do on the plays, going through your keys, holding on to the football, not dropping balls, making the right reads on throws, things of that nature. It's just all football stuff. We got to do it right, and if we do it right, again, we talented enough to get in the end zone. So I guess if you put it all in one big word to categorize it, would be execution. Just executing everything, assignments, jobs that you're supposed to do to be able to get there. Because, we've been in the end zone. I was in my classroom today going back, after I got done giving a test to look at all the stuff that all the times we've been in the end zone, and kind of like what's the problem, in that. And just execution, just finishing. It might be a block here or a guy forgetting to play, stuff like that I guess the outside world don't see, but that's what's really happening on ground level.
We're talking with Vicksburg High coach Chris Lacy. Coach, you mentioned before the Yazoo City game. This was the first time that you were going to be calling plays.
Mm-hmm.
How would you assess or grade your play calling since it's your first time doing it?
Of course, I could get better at it. And my offensive coordinator is Andre Bennett. We've been working together to put things together to, get the game plan together. Even though it might be coming off my sheet of paper, me, him, and Tyrese Wolf have all put our heads together to come up with the plan we need in order to play the game. So, I wasn't nervous at all. It's football. I called games on video games, pee-wee ball, being a defensive coordinator, so I know what to expect. It's just, I could get better. We all can get better, so that's what's going to happen.
What is it going to take as far as the improvement? What's the one thing that can kind of unthaw this offense here a little bit?
Just like, again, trusting where you got to be, trusting the blocks. A lot of times, if you say you run an outside zone play and you're supposed to be hitting it outside, it might not look like it's open at that point, but it is. You just got to trust it and keep going. I tell the kids all the time, I'm not going to be mad if you doing what you're supposed to do, because it'll come back on me as in I have to fix something. But if you're doing what you're not supposed to do, then we got to have a conversation. So it's more so the kids just trusting what that play says and executing it all the way.
Well, speaking of executing the defense, lights out. You held a high-powered Natchez team that was averaging 50 points a game to 14. Really doing a good job of kind of keeping Forest Hill bottled up. But then this one here, only 8 points you give up. So your defense, despite those crazy conditions, your defense is playing lights out, it seems.
Again, one of the standards at Vicksburg is to play excellent, tremendous defense. And we piggyback on that a lot. And, we're doing that. They're doing their job. And they're doing a better job of eliminating big plays. That was something that hurt us at the beginning of the year, was just giving up big plays on defense in the Holmes game or the Forest Hill game. But they've gotten better and done exactly what it is that they've been asked to do. So, like I say, the big thing is we just got to put that ball in the end zone. I feel like once we put the ball in the end zone, it's going to be hard to, kind of deal with us.
Well, you had a little bit of extra time to get ready for this district opener because you had your fall break Wednesday, yesterday, and today, of course. Does that help when you have that fall break in terms of having a little bit more time to prepare for some of these games when that happens?
Yeah, because we've been able to. I mean, we played a lot of kids on both sides of the ball. Just having a young team, getting guys out there to see who gels and who don't, who can fit here, who doesn't, and the bye week gave us an opportunity to figure out who the best 11 is, and that was a blessing. And we got back healthy. I mean, Wallace Curry is coming back to play. Willie Edmond shoulder got better. So we had a lot of guys who was kind of dinged up, and now they back ready to play some football.
Well, let's talk about this week of football following the bye week. The Rockets of Neshoba Central out of Philadelphia, Mississippi. You look at that team, Coach, only one loss on the season. Talk a little bit about Neshoba Central in terms of what they have done this season and what we can expect.
They big up front. Really, I know Coach Ruffin, he's their defensive coordinator. I mean, their head coach now. He was their defensive coordinator, but me and him are really good friends, coaching an all-star game together. We talk to each other, and I know what type of man he is. He's taught me some stuff about defense and football when I was a young coordinator. So I'm looking at their team, and they playing like a Coach Ruffin coached football team. And again, they big. They got some really good DBs. Quarterback from last year coming back, real good in the kicking game as far as field goals go and stuff. So they in the show, but they're going to have a lot of kids. They're going to be disciplined, and they're going to play hard-nosed football. They're not going to try to trick you with what they do. They're going to let you know that they're a downhill running team, and that's kind of their MO. So it's going to be exciting to get out there and be able to compete with them today and play some ball.
Well, I stand corrected. The record's 1-4 on the season. Their only win was West Lauderdale. So I just, when I think of Neshoba Central, I always think about Hunter, Jarquez Hunter. I mean, that's been a few years ago. It seems like eons ago running the football, but it seems like it's a kind of a different deal with that program now.
I mean, they still got guys that gonna run the ball. I mean, Neshoba's played for the district championship the past 4 years in the district that we've been in. So I don't read into records and stuff like that. I saw Vanderbilt beat Alabama this weekend, and I tell anybody, look, people say they didn't expect it to happen, but, man, the way football is nowadays, you don't know. So you can't really take anybody lightly. That's the lesson that comes out of it, because you'll get beat on any given Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I expect Neshoba Central to come in here despite what their record is to beat Neshoba Central and play the type of game that they're going to play. I'm humble right now. Like, we don't have the right to turn anybody down that shows up at Vicksburg. And I know us and them, we've played them 3 years prior for a district title. So it's like almost like a rivalry. So we're gonna do our thing when it come out there Friday.
Well, last year was 21-20. And so there have been some close games.
Yeah, we played. I mean, they beat us 10-6 a couple years ago in a district title game, and we played them 14-0 one year. So we've been in them type of games with Neshoba. We all know each other. Nothing's gonna change, and we're going to go out there and try to beat them. And that's the mindset that's been going on. New season, everybody 0-0. So Coach Todd used to always speak to me about, you got 3 seasons where you got non-district, district, and the playoffs. So we're in a whole new season. Bye week was a blessing. We was able to refresh a little bit. So now we going into this thing trying to win us a district title.
Yeah, how quickly were you able to put Yazoo behind you? Because that was a tough loss, and people around here still talking about that. I guess I'm learning it's a nice little rivalry between Vicksburg and Yazoo, 2 schools, 30 minutes away. So that was a tough one, obviously. How quickly were your players able to turn the page, you think, and get ready for what this is now the second season?
We talked about it a day, and we let it go. We look at the film, what we do wrong, and it's time to fix it. Our whole focus turned to the new season. All that's over. I told them, ball it up and throw it in the trash can. It's time for us to refocus, relearn, recalibrate what it is that we need to do, and go out here and try to win us a district title. None of that matters anymore. None of those games stopped us from winning district or making the playoffs. It was just we learned from it. We would rather been 5-0 in the whole thing, but we weren't. So just throw it away. Hey, now it's time to move on and try to go chase this district title.
Well, what's the one positive thing that you can carry out of that non-district schedule that you can put on the mantle and always look at as we get ready for district, and you got to carry through district play?
My kids know that the mistakes we made are, and some people might look at a mistake as a positive, but you learn from your failure. So they learn how to come over adversity. They've been in every type of game you could be in. Games we was up and lost, games that we was down and tried to come back. bad weather. You know, we've had, people, they had to deal with the press, the media, the social media and all that different type of stuff. Now, you know what all the bad look like. Let's go see what the good is. And we all here. We still in the field house. They still practicing, still going to class. They still believing in what they do. And we're a family, and we done established that. And again, we're going to try to win us a championship.
That is Vicksburg High Coach Chris Lacy, ladies and gentlemen. It's the second season. It's Gator football. It's Vicksburg and Neshoba. Coach, let's go get them.
Yes, sir.
We'll take this time out. Yours truly, TJ Mayfield, on the call. We'll get it kicked off after this. Time out.